Hey, fight fans, welcome back to Carl Perusa MMA. Today with special guest, my guest getting ready, fighting once again in the UFC, this time UFC Perth. He's taking on Josias Musasa. He is Mr. Colby Thicknesse. Colby, what's up, my friend? How are you?
Very good, brother. How are you going?
Thank you, brother. So very cool news that happened a few weeks ago.
Mm-hmm.
Got out there, you're fighting UFC Perth, get a fight in Australia. Was that pretty cool to get that news?
Yeah, bro. I can't lie. I'm so stoked with it. From going from a debut in Sydney, which was special enough, to then having my second fight in Perth, which is insane because realistically, most guys debut on the Apex, have 3 or 4 fights in the Apex. Then you might get like a nice show in Vegas or something. But to get 2 fights in my home country back to back, I'm so happy for it.
Absolutely. So obviously right now in the UFC, we're seeing Australia very proudly represented. Obviously, Alexander Volkanovski, one of the greatest to do it. Jack Della Maddalena now going out there. Cam Rouston just made it to the UFC. From when you first started to now, how has the sport grown in Australia?
Oh man, it's been crazy because I started wrestling when I was 6 years old, and then I ended up going to freestyle with Joe Lopez when I was 13. So I remember when I had just started my MMA training, there was very few Aussies in there. I think maybe Elvis Sinisic, and then you had like George Stropholopius on the Ultimate Fighter series and things like that. And then I think it really sort of hit home that we could do it in Australia when Rob beat Romero. That was like one of the moments where I was like, yes, we finally got like our first homegrown champion. And then obviously being a part of Volk's journey the whole time, he's shown us what's possible. So yeah, it's been pretty surreal to be a part of it all.
You know, you mentioned Joe Lopez, I think one of the greatest coaches in mixed martial arts. What makes that guy so special?
I think what makes him so special is it sounds pretty simple, but he's just got a very no bullshit approach. Like you might think you might have had the best 5 rounds of sparring, and you might have won pretty well, but he has no problems with telling you, you did this wrong, this wrong, this wrong, this wrong, and then here's how we're going to fix problem A, B, and C. So I think it's just that the honest transparency you get. Like he's the opposite of a yes man. So he's much more of like a no man than a yes man, which is, I think, in this sport is what you need, because so many guys get to that high level and they just got yes men around him, and it ends up not working out too well for him. So it's good. Like the way Volk the way Joe treats an Owen amateur is exactly the way he'll treat Volk. So there's no special privileges, no matter how good you are. He just wants you to get in, shut up, and do the work.
Absolutely. You know, so many people are watching this sport in this day and age. Obviously, the UFC's got shows almost every week. You have the PFL now, you have Karate Combat, Bare Knuckles, all this crazy stuff. Very few people understand what it's like to battle through the regional scene to try to make it to the UFC or another big promotion. You know, when you're fighting on the regional scene, a lot of guys need that 9-to-5 job. You wake up early, you stay up late, you have kids. It's hard. You have hard to have a girlfriend, hard to have a husband. You miss birthdays, weddings, Thanksgivings, dinners, all that. Just sacrificing to get to the pinnacle of the sport. You've done it. But even when you make it to the UFC, those sacrifices are still there. What's made you want to hang on to this journey for so long?
I think it's just because I've always been committed to this since I was a young kid. So I was in like grade 1, 2 at school, and I already knew like normal 9-to-5 wasn't cut out for me, sort of thing. Like I wouldn't be able to just wake up, work Monday to Friday, do a pointless job and just sort of tick it on. I know like it's not for everyone, that sort of thing, and it just wasn't for me. And I was like, I'm half good at my sports and my athletics, so I'm like, why not go all in? So it's always like it's hard work comes with the territory, but it's hard work that I'm willing to do. So like no matter what you do, nothing's going to be easy. So I just choose my hard parts training, fun parts fighting. So I just try and get out there and just train hard every day, and then come the fight time, I can just sort of showcase and just all the reward from all the hard work and fight camp and that.
Absolutely. You know, before you made it to the UFC, you're doing great things on the regional scene. You're able to win a title over at Hex, one of the big promotions in Australia. Took out Marvin Nunez with the elbows in the first round. Walk me through that victory, man.
To be honest, that was pretty short fight camp. I actually fought in Bali 4 weeks before that, and I ended up getting Bali belly. So I ended up having to stay a week after that fight, and I was like, I think I didn't eat or drink for 3 days, and I had just IV fluids through me. So I woke up morning, I got extremely sick. So I ended up probably missed about 2 weeks of training. So I had to get all my blood work and checked. But then I had 1 week of camp, and I finished a week of camp, and I was like, if I can just get through what I went through these past 3 weeks, like the fight's going to be a breeze. And then it was pretty cool. I got to take him down. I'm pretty sure it was like a week or two after the 12-6 elbows actually got legalized. So I definitely know I got like the first 12 to 6 finish in Australia, which was pretty cool. If not, maybe like a fair few more places, because it was like that Monday they got cleared, and then I remember in the fight, I was like, oh, yeah, I can 12 to 6. I'm just gonna try and finish him with these. So it was cool. He's also a mutual opponent of Josias, which is interesting. He has got a finish on him over the feet. I got to finish him on the ground. So it was. I actually knew of Josias since November because I saw Marvin and I checked his record. I'm like, okay, his last loss was to a guy who I think just fought in a contender series at that time. I don't think he lost in the UFC yet. So it was cool to see. So Josias has actually been on my radar since like last November. So it's cool we finally get to step up and see who's better.
Absolutely. I really enjoy watching you fight, man. I think you're a very well-rounded mixed martial artist. I mean, what you can do on the ground is really amazing. The wrestling's on cue. Jiu-jitsu's really good. The ground and pound's deadly. And I think you also have some pop on the hands. At what point in the career did you really start thinking, if I want to try to make the UFC, if I want to try to take this as far as I can, I need to be as well-rounded as possible?
I think it was just instilled at me as soon as I made that decision when I was like 13, 14, that I want to do this full time. Because the way I look at it, like, we're a professional athlete at the end of the day. So, say professional rugby league players, they play every weekend, so they have to stay ready in that. So I just treat myself like I'm a professional athlete. The only problem is I get 3 to 4 games a year, and they're not 80 minutes or 15 minutes, but it still doesn't mean I can't handle preparation the exact same way.
Absolutely. So we first saw you from the UFC earlier this year, Sydney, Australia, took on Alexandre Topuria. Where were you when you got the phone call that you're getting signed to the UFC?
I was working a 10-hour security shift in my car, watching like a school I got broken into. And I had 2 bags of Uber Eats because we were preparing for the Sydney card in case. So I was like, not in like a specific flight camp, but I was staying fit, staying in shape. And then it got to like 2 weeks out, and I dieted and all this, and I was like, fuck this, man. Like, it's 2 weeks out. I had a terrible sparring session. Like, I'm skinny. I've got to fight in 4 weeks down in Melbourne anyway. Like, I'm just over it. So I ended up just like eating my feels away in my car. And there was probably like 10 p.m. Oz time. I got a DM from his manager, and then his manager hit me up, and then it sort of just got the ball rolling from there. And it was funny. My parents were home, and I rang my dad. I'm like, just can't say anything, but I need you to turn the sauna on for me, because I've got to lose a fair amount of weight in these next 12 days.
Very, very cool. Obviously made your debut, Alexandre Topuria, brother of one of the greatest guys to do it right now. What was that all like, man, going in there, facing a name, getting on a big pay-per-view card?
Oh, it was honestly a dream come true. Like I said before, many people have to go that contender series route. So you're fighting the Apex, then you might get on a fight night in the Apex, then you build your name up. Then once you hit the rankings, you might get to fight in your home country if you're lucky. And it was just perfect timing, especially with how I felt leading into it once I got the notice, and obviously having Volk as well. So the Volk and Ilya narrative lined up pretty well. So it was just a sort of combination of really cool moments. Obviously, we're getting topped off if I got the win, but like, I don't look back on it, and winning would have made the moment better, but like, losing doesn't take anything away. Like, realistically, I lost over 15 minutes, but everything else leading up to that point, like, I just felt like a winner, so I was pretty happy with it all.
You think you took away anything from that contest? Any moments in there that'll make you better in the future?
Oh, I've got so much more just confidence and belief in myself, because, like, obviously, like I said, it was a pretty big weight cut for a bantamweight, what I had to do. Like, no real fight camp. The tactics we had quickly implemented for Topuria. As soon as he came out, his style instantly was different. Like, when he fought in regionals, it was much more like lead foot in and out, lead hand low, and then he just came with like a proper Illyria approach. So I pretty much just had to think of a game plan on the fly. And I think it was just good for my confidence knowing that like 15 minutes I can go with one of the like best guys in the division with unideal circumstances. So when I get a full camp and full preparation, like, things should go pretty well for me, I think.
Absolutely. Do you feel that fighting is more mental than it is physical?
Yes, but not completely. I think it is more mental, but it's not just like, the nerves and that. It's more like the mental drive to push yourself, because like, everybody knows, like, your body's so much more capable and then of what it thinks it is. Your mind just has to do it. So I think that's a mental aspect, but you can't think, oh, I'm headstrong, I'm super tough, I can just go out and knock out these guys, because that's not going to work. You're going to have to put the physical behind it. Then doing the physical is what gives you the mental confidence, and it's mental confidence which allows you to do the physical. So I think it's pretty sort of yin and yang with them too.
Absolutely. So you're taking on Josias Musasa here. Overall, what do you think of him as an opponent?
I think he's powerful. I think he's powerful, explosive. He's pretty still green in his mixed martial arts career. I know he's only been pro for like 3 or 4 years at this point. I'm not taking anything away from him. Like, everybody's got the big puncher's chance, and he certainly does. His nickname, the KO Wizard. But at the end of the day, I think I've seen all the looks. I've got my tactics and strategies ready. I've got the good game plan, good training partners. I've got the fight IQ. So it's one of the fights where I'm not even looking forward to like the victory in a sense. I'm just looking forward to getting to go out there and just showcase my performance, because there's going to be a lot of eyes on this one, obviously from my last one. So I think I'm just excited to get all the attention on me. I can just show out from what I did in my last fight.
Obviously, the last time you fought in Australia, a lot of people happy, everyone cheering, big ovation for you. Probably going to happen again this go around. You feed off of that, man? You feel it in there?
Oh yeah, definitely. I remember walking out to Sydney when my song hit, and even before then, there was people filming and shouting out and that, and then walking out to a stadium with like 15,000 people cheering for me. Is like, there's not many feelings like it, especially like when you're at a show or anything, a fight, you're like, wow, it's so cool to be here. But when the actual moment's about you being there, it makes it all the more special. So I do enjoy it and everything. Like, I'll soak it in, but like as soon as that cage door's closed, I don't care if I fight in front of like 15,000 people or 15 people. I'm just going out there to win.
You know, through the year, the UFC has been to Australia multiple times. They've had some huge contests in Australia through the years as well. Before you made it to the UFC, maybe younger in your career, younger in your life, did you find yourself there at a show thinking, you know, one day maybe I'll be fighting down there?
Yeah, definitely. I think my first UFC show, funny enough, was actually when Volk beat Holloway for the world title the first time. So I was backstage with T-Mobile and that, and then as soon as he won that fight, like, I sort of knew then, like, this is where I'm meant to be. I think I was still early in my amateur career. And then obviously since then, I've been a part of all his camps. I've traveled to Vegas, all around the world, and fought all around the world. So I've always knew, like, so when I got the call up for the UFC, I was surprised with how it happened, but I wasn't, like, surprised that I got in, because there was never any doubt in my mind that I didn't belong there. And especially with, like I said, the level of training partners I have, my coaches, and that, it was never if I got in, it was just when. Early on in my pro career, I had like some unfortunate injuries which really slowed me down. I ended up having like 3 fights in 3 years, which was just not good for momentum. Just shit happens. But now I'm in, finally feel like it's my time. I just keen to make a run for it. Rewarding.
No, it's kind of crazy to see where this sport has come from. You know, 20, 25 years ago, it wasn't legal everywhere, man. People were thinking MMA was like some crazy stuff. And now kids are doing jiu-jitsu at 5, 6 years old. They're turning amateur 18. By the time they're 20, 21, they're already pros. Some guys are in the UFC at 22, 23 years old now, man. Are you starting to see that from a coaching aspect?
Yeah, definitely. As soon as you said that, I had one kid come to mind. I think he's maybe 8 now. He's been training with us since he was 4. And this kid, like, you see him spar the bigger kids, like 10, 11-year-olds. He'll throw like a 4-piece combo with like 2 body shots in there. He'll cut an angle, throw a kick, then come back like he's throwing fakes and everything. So it's like cool to see, especially when you go to the jiu-jitsu comps, you see like these young kids playing like these real complicated gi guards, which normally takes like blue and purple belts to understand, but they're 6-year-olds doing it. So yeah, I think it's pretty cool to see the level and how quickly it's rising, especially amongst the youth.
Absolutely. Do you get more nervous when you're watching some of your students compete than when you actually go out there and do it?
Yeah, no, I do. I think because like everybody says, like, you're not in control. So like my mate Casey before, not last weekend before, he defended the Hex title. So I was super nervous for that. And then obviously also when Bog fights, like that is always a very nerve-wracking experience too for it.
Absolutely. All right, before we wrap up here, one thing I want to do is I want to get through some big UFC fights, and I want to get your predictions of who you think is going to win some of these big matchups. So we got a pretty big one coming up this weekend, actually. We got Gian Silva. He's taking on Diego Lopez. Who wins that?
Mm-hmm. I'm going Diego Lopez by late finish or points.
Absolutely. All right, down to the 135 division. We got the title on the line. We got Merab Devashvili welcoming Corey Sandhagen. Who pulls it out?
I think Merab. I think at this point you just can't bet against him.
That same night, big rematch. Alex Pereira taking on Magomedov Ankalaev once again. Who wins it the second time around?
I think Ankalaev gets it done again too. Like, I think he's very slept on because of that first fight, how it played out stylistically. But I think he's a champ for a reason. I think he's going to go on a pretty good run.
Absolutely. We got a big one that just recently got announced, middleweight division. We got Ranier de Ridder. He's taking on Fluffy Hernandez. Who wins that?
That's a good one. it's hard because Renee's just so awkward to pick against. But I've been super impressed with Fluffy and how well he mixes it up. And I think that's purely the thing. I think Fluffy has more ways to victory by mixing up. So I think Fluffy, but then again, that's like a pick and fight for me, to be honest.
Absolutely. Last one. We got Islam Makhachev moving up to 170, taking on Jack Della. What happens?
Della, first round, first minute, first right hook that lands, puts him to sleep.
There you go. Let's see what happens. We just mentioned some of the biggest names of the sport here. You've trained with some of the biggest names in the sport.
Yes.
When you're watching these guys, when you're seeing the big fights, do you get momentum off of it? Do you get any inspiration off that?
Oh, yeah, without a doubt. Like, can you imagine I walked into this gym when I was 13, and then to see, like, one of the main guys you're training with day in, day out go on, like, the run he did at featherweight and win the world title. Like, everything you do, like, there's a thing I used to do in my amateur career. I used to walk out to a fight, and I used to just tell myself, I'm like, they're not bulk. Like, it's probably not even going to be as bad as sparring this fight. Like, at the end of the day, realistically, it's probably not. Like, especially for me where I'm at, I'm in the division below, and I've got the guy, not even in my division, in the division above, one of the greatest to do it, giving me the looks I need, giving me the feedback, come from coach me through things. So, yeah, just instills a lot of confidence within myself.
Absolutely. You know, one thing I love about martial arts, man, everyone's got a story, everyone's got a journey. I've had so many fighters tell me, you know, when I started mixed martial arts, I didn't know what I want to do with my life. I was going down a bad road. I learned discipline. I learned these different values, turned me into who I am today. How have you grown and evolved from competing in martial arts?
I think it's just made me a better person. And I've grown just in the sense that I'm just more mature. I feel like you can just be a better member of a community. You can give back more. I think eventually with things that give you some sort of notoriety or some sort of version of fame or success, no matter how small it is, people always look up to that. So I think as long as you're a good role model for the younger generations or like the friends and people around you, I think you can use it to be like a very positive influence, especially with like young kids and that, because like young kids seeing adult on the street, they tell them to do something like yeah whatever, but they see a UFC fighter or something, you've already got that like position of authority. So I think it's just maximizing that and just using that to the sort of best benefit that you can for everybody else around you.
Absolutely. You know, we're seeing more people than ever watching mixed martial arts in this day and age. There's so many eyeballs on it, so many fans. There's a term now. It's called the casual fan. And before I get into this, every fan is a good fan. We need everybody we can get. But if you go to the bar, if you go to the cheap seats of the fight, you might hear twist them in the you know what, some booing, some crazy stuff on Facebook, Instagram, X, whatever you want to say. What do you make of all this? Have you ever seen a couple lines or heard anything that just made you laugh?
Oh man, I'm known all about it. The second that contract got signed to fight Taporia, my DMs got blown up. So I knew it was bad before, but when that happened, like it was pretty not surreal. Like I expected, but I was like, wow, I didn't realize it was this bad. Like even like say if I fought at whatever it was, 10:45, I lost my fight by like 11 o'clock. I would have had messages at like 11:02 telling me like I suck and I should just retire. Like fans can be some of the biggest things, the best things, because they get you into the sport, give you your eyes and everything. But some of them can be absolutely ruthless too.
Absolutely. You know, obviously, if already experiencing a big fight, experiencing the fight week in the UFC, going to the second time around, is there an added sense of comfort there?
Yeah, there is, but I can't even say it. Like on the first time, I wasn't even uncomfortable. Like I said, I've been around the machine long enough. Like I was training at the PI and that since I was like 20 years old with the boys. Like I've been there when Izzy's fought, Bulk's fought. I've seen him cut weight. I've seen him do the training sessions. I've been backstage. I've been front row of the crowd. Like I've sort of seen it all. So nothing that comes across surprises me, the media or anything like that. It's more I just soak it in. I just say grateful. Like all right, this is my time. It's actually about me. It's no longer just being Volk's training partner or you're here for this or you're here as a fan. It's like my time to get to soak it in and to sort of really enjoy it.
Is Volk going to be with you in the corner for this one?
Yes, he will. Yeah, so it's going to be Volk, Joe Lopez, and my teammate Casey Murdoch as well.
Very, very cool. You
Corner,
feel like
yes.
with a big win here, maybe a big finish, big electrifying win, does that really start you and kind of pull you in that 135 division?
Yeah, definitely. I think me getting a big win in Perth, then I think also, as strange as it sounds, I think when Taporia fights in November, if he goes out and gets a big win too, it'll almost be that moment when you have like the Islam and Armin, like, oh shit, these two guys fought each other in debut. Now look at them both going up through the rankings. Like, what a privilege we had to watch these two guys fight when they're like so young and so early in their career.
Absolutely. All right, Colby, last question for you, my friend. In a perfect world, what is the outcome September 27th when you make your return to the UFC, this time in Perth against Josias Musasa?
Perfect outcome is I throw one jab and he falls over. But I don't think that's gonna be too realistic. So I'm thinking a late finish. I think he's pretty crafty everywhere, but I think there's a couple of grappling moments where I can really capitalize on some mistakes he make, and I can hopefully get me back and get a finish.
Absolutely. Well, Colby, man, thank you so much for taking time out of camp. I know you got a big fight coming up. I really appreciate it. I wish you nothing but the best, brother.
No worries, bro. Thank you for having me on.
Absolutely. That's it for us tonight. I'm Carl Peruzza. He is Mr. Colby Thicknesse taking out Josias Musasa, UFC Perth, September 27th. You don't want to miss it, fight fans. Take care.
Appreciate it, brother. Thank you.